This is our last impact planning video, and it is about metrics. You now have your theory of change, which is a set of expectations about how your actions are going to achieve your goal. And the purpose of having metrics, the purpose of measurement, is because you need to know whether those expectations are actually playing out in real life, right? Because if your actions aren't having the effect that you think they will, and if it's not creating the outcomes that you think they will, you need to adapt, right? Because the theory of change is a whole string of outcomes, right? It's a causal chain. So if the first thing isn't happening, probably the seventh thing isn't going to happen, right? So the purpose of creating metrics, the purpose of measuring, is to collect information to see if the theory of change is actually playing out. And I guarantee you, spoiler alert, definitely aspects of your theory of change are going to look different in real life than you expected because you're intervening into a complex social problem. That's what social change work is all about. How do you identify metrics? It's 5 steps. This may not surprise you, but the first thing is to start with your goal, right? And you want to be able to define your goal in a sentence, because the second phase is that you're going to flip your goal into a question. So for example, if your goal is mobilize X group to do Y action, to flip that into a question is, did X group do Y action? If your goal is educational, it's to teach X group Y information, right? This would be the goal of an awareness raising campaign, for example. Then to flip that into a question would be, did X group learn Y? Did they learn, right? And then finally, if you're creating some kind of media, your goal might be to move X group in Y emotional direction, to feel Y emotion. And so then your question would be, did X group feel Y? And you can tell as I'm saying these that I'm really leaning on the verb. And that's step 3, that when you created these questions, you're going to focus on the verb. So the first verb is do or act, okay? The second example, did the group learn? And the third example, did the group feel? Okay, so now you have these verbs. You have a particular context and you have a verb. So then you engage in a brainstorming session, right? And you're gonna definitely have other people in your team. Maybe you have some stakeholders, maybe you have some advisors, and you brainstorm some methods of measurement, right? Maybe there's certain questions that you need to ask people. You need to do phone interviews, you need to do a survey. You know, think about how you can get at the information implied in that verb. And then the final 5th step is filter, right? You're gonna have all of these options, and some of them are gonna be really unfeasible, they're gonna be too expensive, maybe you don't even have the skills, right? And also you want to collect as few metrics as possible with the most information value. So if a metric is cheap and easy to collect, but it's actually not giving you that much information, that's not that great, it would be better for you to expend a little more money or a little more time, do something a little more difficult. It's going to give you a lot of information, right? And ideally, you know, if you can track, you know, an effect with one metric, that's great, right? And that's often what we call a KPI or key performance indicator. So now you have a metric, and then the final thing to make sure you actually collect it is you have to put some time into it, right? Because a lot of times, this may not surprise you, metrics are developed and then people just don't track them because they don't actually get built into the project plan to actually collect the information. So that's metrics. That's the final phase of impact planning. Because after that, after you have your plan and you have a method for capturing information, you're ready to implement. The videos from here on out will focus on implementation and adaptation, because that is really what social change work is all about. It's about learning quickly and improving quickly so that we can make the world a better place. Okay, thanks.